Hello everyone, welcome to the Space Viking Chronicles. I'm Margaret Krohn, and with me are these lovely people. We are going to be playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. We have a variety of levels here. I think some people are level 4, some people are level 3. How this works is everyone will always start in the same town, and then every week we have a new adventure with the new people. And how I've been doing this is with my subscribers. So if you're a subscriber and you're interested, do let us know. You can message any of the CM team. They're all the blue named people in Discord, and they will bring you into the private chat where we're communicating about it, because we just don't want to spam everybody with our D&D talk, because we have to plan things and all of that jazz.
Happy 48th birthday, Maggie.
But quickly, we have Zamzalo with the 7-month subscription, Nate 2150 obviously with the 3 months, and of course Rage Shark with the 48 months, and telling me happy 48th birthday. That's like perfect timing together. I'm Margaret Krohn. This is my channel, obviously, if you guys didn't know that. And I'll kind of like let people go around and introduce their characters as we're going. I think, Rage Strike, you wanted to keep yours a little secret, right? Yeah, he's just thumbs upping. He's not even going to talk. Okay. So we won't introduce Rage Strike, but if you guys don't know, Rage Strike used to be on the community team, but now he is continued to just be a moderator for us as he's working on going to school and doing all that jazz. Because school is not an easy thing to do, that's for sure. Cool. So we'll just have everybody introduce their characters first, and then after that I'll tell you guys what you can do in order to donate and affect the game. Standalone. Oh, hey, Standalone. Rage is the Night. Thanks for the 8 months. Standalone was in the last 2 weeks as well, if you got to check out that as Bass, which was, his character is awesome as well. I think he got killed by his hair at one point, right? Was he the one? Yeah. Yep. He got murdered and then revived by his hair. So that is how crazy it gets. But after everyone introduces their character, I'll let you guys know how you can affect the game if you want to donate. So we'll start, we're going to go counterclockwise. I know, weird, different. We haven't done that in the past. Mostly we can blame Rage for that. Nathan, let us know who you are and what your character is. All that jazz.
I'm Nate 2150. I am also getting Echo.
You might be getting it from me, but
okay.
The stream is not getting it, don't worry.
Okay, good. I am Uthal. I am a Goliath of the Sorcerer variety, and I have a staff.
Yes, he made his staff. It looks awesome. You'll have to post some more photos in the photo section of it. Yeah. Pretty cool. And beyond that, below him to the bottom left there, we've got Ardoth.
Hello, I'm Quiet Geek, and Ardoth is a half-elf warlock. Penchant for speaking telepathically to people and possibly going slightly mad.
Possibly. Just slightly.
Maybe. Just a tiniest bit.
And then we have Roxy. Who you be?
Hello. I'm a Tech Priest Can. I usually lurk in the streams anyway, and I'm playing as Roxy, a tiefling cleric who has just stumbled upon them and thinks Ardoth is blessed by her god.
Yes. It's pretty amazing. And we had a crazy last week of episode. I'm not going to introduce Rage again because he would like to be introduced later. Unless, Rage, you'd like to just talk about yourself a little bit and not your character. No. The silence continues. He is the night.
I couldn't find the unmute button.
Oh.
I'm Rage Strike. I've been following Maggie for, what does that say, 48 months?
Supposedly.
A long time.
It has been a long time. Rage also takes beautiful photos. If you've ever checked out our photography section, he's posted quite a few photos in there. Sometimes of dolphins. Like, what? It's cool. But yeah, so that's our crew. Last week we had an interesting ending where everyone went to sleep and had crazy dreams. Which were really fun to do, except for I think one person didn't have dreams. Was it Roxy? Yeah, Roxy didn't have dreams. Everyone else had weird ass dreams. So we'll see how those play into everything. They also finished an insane battle against fire elementals that were just coming out of crazy portals. It was insane. Lots of nutty things happened. They met their cleric Roxy for the first time, who was able to kind of change the tide of the battle as it was getting a little bit hectic for them. And even though we threw some more things at them, they were able to be valiant and heroes of this town. Now, it has been quite a bit of time has passed. I'm not sure what Baz is doing, but he's not currently in the town. Or maybe he is, he's just not currently with you all. Currently the town, a lot of people have been fixing it up. In our previous episodes, we had a roof that exploded, and a bunch of other things that had happened to the town. The giant earthen spear that was kind of like risen from the middle of the town road is now gone. The dwarves were able to like remove it. It took them like probably 3 weeks to take and get through that, but they finally were able to figure out how to remove it, but they're still curious as to how it happened. You guys were questioned a few times about it and what you saw, and trying to understand it. The outskirts of the town, slowly the edges of the town where the plants were starting to get invisible slowly dissipated, and vegetation is slowly coming back to life. You've got probably a quarter mile of invisibility. So within like the main square of town and kind of like around town, some of the parts of outside of town are now having, or the outer edges of the town have their vegetation back. So trees are kind of just like popping up out of nowhere and stuff. People are no longer running into plants or trees or things like that because they weren't gone, they just were invisible. As if, you know, you cast an invisibility spell on a tree. So people were kind of running into trees or into rocks, or not rocks, but into different plant life. What else has happened? There were a bunch of birds that were found dead, and basically all of their heads just kind of like exploded. And so people have been like cleaning that up. It was kind of a little messy. So that has been something that has been resolved. There was a local, trying to remember what it's called when you're like a bird person. Like you take care of birds. I don't remember what they're called. It was a bird caretaker who came and was trying to figure out what had caused this, but with no avail, no one has been able to figure out what has caused that. But they are offering a pretty penny for anybody who can provide any information about it. The only other thing I can think of is that the inn is pretty much getting fixed. Most of it has, it's got a roof now. They worked fairly quickly on it. It's just the outside of it doesn't look that pretty, but the inside you are protected from rain and such. Aviary? Aviary is like a location where birds are kept, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aviculturist? I don't know. If you Googled it, that might be it. I don't know. But yeah, so that's kind of what's going on in the town, and I'm just going to let people as viewers know what they can do to change things around here before we get started, and then I'm going to lay it out for you guys, and you guys can do whatever you want. So if you're watching and you'd like to affect the game, $5 buys an inspiration. I think everyone has actually started with an inspiration except for Rage right now, right? Yeah, because I gave everyone an inspiration for an amazing RP that they did at the end of the session. $10 gives somebody a natty 1 or a natty 20. If you don't specify who you're giving it to, I will decide who gets it. $15 does a wild magic, and I basically go clockwise of who gets the wild magic. And $20 enters a magic item into play. I will find a way to put this magic item into the game. I decide what the magic item is. You just kind of put your ideas out there. $30 enters a threat. Now, a threat does not always mean a monster, but it could potentially mean some other things, like there was a time where they were in the inn and they almost started a bar fight type of thing, but they were able to RP their way through it. So a threat doesn't always have to be something that's combative. Or a threat can be buffing a monster, things like that. So It doesn't get too chaotic, although we've had it get pretty chaotic, let's be honest. At one point, someone was a map, so that's probably my favorite part, is that Nate was a map. And then he was lit on fire while in someone's back pocket.
Which triggered a portal, so they played a fire, which caused fire elementals to come out, which, yeah, welcome to wild magic.
Oh, and now I'm 2 feet tall.
Yes. Oh yeah, and he is now 2 feet tall. Where were you before, like when you started?
7'11".
7'11", so he's like roughly 8 foot, and then he got shrunk to 2 feet. It was so good.
He got turned into a small ice.
It was so cute. So let's go ahead and move it on over. The three of you are sitting in the inn. It is probably midday, so you're eating your lunch, probably something of that sort. And you know, the town has been hustling and bustling. You've actually helped with a few things. That plant task that Bob Ross had sent you out on, you actually did resolve that. You were able to find a majority of the plants. There were a couple that you weren't able to bring back to him, but he was super pumped that you even got what you got, because those are rare plants. He then took those plants and was able to make some painting supplies and paints from that, which he's now working on a beautiful painting that will be put in the inn as kind of like a memoir to the battle that you guys did and how you guys protected the city. So that is happening currently. And as you guys are enjoying the festivities of being heroes in the town and solving little problems here and there, the message board is finally repaired and it's back on the wall, and you guys are sitting and eating your meal. And I'm just gonna let you guys RP for a little bit, because you haven't really gotten to do a lot of that.
Okay, before we get into it, since it's been a few weeks, can I have cast Find Familiar again?
Yeah, sure. You can cast Find Familiar. Are you just trying to get your same bird?
Yeah, get the raven back, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you did this in the morning, probably. And your bird is now, it's a raven, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, your raven is now sitting on your shoulder, or maybe up on the peaks of the wood at the top of the inn, wherever she would, or they would normally hang out. So yeah.
Okay.
So, one quick question. Does that mean, like, did Roxy find out about her current condition with sunlight, about being blind in it then?
Ooh. Are you blind? I think you just can't read, right?
No, I can't see in direct sunlight.
Oh, you
like
can't
Roxy
see
is
in
blind. Yeah, no, that was Ardoff that can't read.
Yeah, so it has been, like almost a month probably. So yeah, you do know that you can't see in sunlight.
Oh no.
Also, I would probably, because we're fast forwarding a month and you guys are getting, you guys did the Bob Ross thing. We'll also give this to Baz's too, so we'll have to remember that he gets this. You each get 100 gold. So just note it down. You don't have to spend it today. You can spend it later, but just note that you do have that. And thank you, It's Hafu, for the lovely host. If you're over there watching on It's Hafu's channel, come on over to this channel. We are playing some Dungeons & Dragons for St Jude charity, where you guys can donate to affect the game, and the donation options are right there on the right-hand side of my screen, what you can do, and you can let me know who you want to donate to, or which person you want to affect. They have to use the natty 1s and natty 20s first, just so you know. That's the criteria here. So go ahead and RP. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt y'all.
Okay.
Good.
But yeah, you do know about your situation. But there are items that can help you with that. I think True Sight is one of the things that might help you too. I know there's some other ways to handle being blind. We can make up an item for you too, but it'll probably cost you like $500 or 500 gold to get like a really good item that allows you to basically sense things differently. You know what I mean?
Okay. I think for the most part, she would probably have stuck as close to Ardoth as she could.
Okay. You're not in direct sunlight right now. You're inside of the inn in midday, so there might be some sunlight coming in through the windows. So
Yeah,
maybe you
she's-
sit in like a darker spot of the inn, away from windows.
Yeah, she's avoiding windows.
So Uthal's probably eating like a huge slab of meat if he can get some.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes he just picks it up, forgetting his manners.
Roxy's just taking her time. She's not a fast eater or a slow eater. She's just taking her time right now. Maybe looking at Uthal with a dirty look every time he's like picking it up with his hands or whatever.
Cool. Any other RP you guys want to do? That's it?
Uthal might be asking a few more questions on like why each of them came to the town. If
Yeah, go ahead and just talk. Act it out.
Okay.
Okay.
so, what brings you two here? I know it's been a few months, but we haven't really got to know each other.
Well, I kind of came out here as part of a spiritual journey that my church sent me on. I heard rumors of what was going on in the town, so I figured they might need me. And I came at a good time, it seemed like.
A most excellent time. And Ardoth is actually speaking aloud when he says that.
Yes. Though I did not notice you arrive until I was in a thing of water.
I didn't notice you either because of the water and the fire elementals.
For
I
those of you who
imagine
weren't
dark-
here last week, we had our 2-foot tall Goliath who's been shrunk down. He was on top of a 7-foot tall water spout that was coming out of the ground randomly through wild magic. And Roxy walked into them all fighting fire elementals while there's like a giant earthen thing in the middle of the road and a huge water spout spouting water.
And I had
Chaos
also
inside.
cast darkness.
Oh yeah, and there was darkness. I forgot about that. In the middle of the road. In the middle of the road. Rage would have liked it.
Space Viking.
She's also
So
gonna look
happy,
at
much
Uthal
love.
and just be like, I still don't believe that you're taller than you actually are. You still haven't proven it, and it's been about a month.
Watch me. I'm gonna attempt. I've been with this crystal for a while, so I'm gonna just attempt to hold it out. Just focus on it.
Ooh,
I've
yeah.
just been holding this crystal for like in my pack.
The crystal that was in your pack is a... You've had it for a while, so I'm gonna let you all see what the item is. But I think that, or not all see it, is Uthal, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, you have the item now, Uthal.
Ooh.
And see what it is.
So I guess I make the crystal cast on myself. Finally, to remove.
Well, you don't have to cast. You don't have to cast to know what it does. You can like read out what it is now, so the viewers know,
Okay.
and so your rest of your party knows what it is. But let's say like during the middle of the night or something like that, or in the in the evening when you had your alone time, you basically kind of like attuned with the crystal, and now you know what the crystal is.
Okay. So this is the crystal of the spell slinger. It holds one spell. Right now it is currently holding Dispel Magic, which is great. And a new spell can be put into the crystal if it's empty during a long rest.
Yes.
So I'm going to hold out the crystal and I'm going to use it to cast Dispel Magic on myself.
Can you cast Dispel Magic?
No.
So the item needs to be used by someone who can actually cast
Okay.
Dispel Magic.
Um,
But you know what the item does.
Okay.
Is it a requirement for the item to have the spell on the cast a spell list, or to actually be able to cast a spell?
You just have to be able to cast the spell.
I need a level 3 spell slot.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like your prepared spell. It just has to be a spell that you are capable of casting.
Okay.
So if you're capable of casting Dispel Magic, then you should be able to use it. So whatever
Not yet.
classes allow you to do that.
Soon. And
Thank you, Juan Jockey, for the 4 months of subscription as well. Appreciate it.
so I guess there's just this big lead up to me holding this crystal up, and then nothing happens.
yeah. You're like, you think you're casting something, but you're not.
Roxy is unimpressed. And
Was
that
that
was
meant to
supposed
do something?
Maybe.
to.
Yeah. It didn't work. I don't know why. I guess I'll wait.
We can see that it didn't work. Build it up for nothing.
Uthal's
I'm
just
kind
gonna
of
put it back in
disappointed.
his pack.
Well, you have had plenty of time now to practice being that height, so I'm sure you will cope perfectly well.
Yeah, I just miss being tall.
It's okay. People just have trouble with magic sometimes.
Yeah.
She's just gonna kind of pat you on the head, just kind of like that, kind
He
of.
hit you with with his stick.
Ow. Rude.
His quarterstaff, technically.
Is there anything else that you guys would like to do as you're sitting here?
Nope.
Guess we could probably. Uthal might suggest taking a look at the the help board now that it's finally repaired.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah, so you guys look at you get up and you guys kind of look over at the message board that has a bunch of notes written on it. One of them is someone's missing their cat. There's a ton of missing children messages still. There's actually like more than you saw before. There's probably like 5 now that are on the board. And there's also a bunch of cows that have had something similar that had happened to the sheep is now happening to the cows, where they're basically either going missing or it looks like something like their bodies are drained and they're just like left there. Carcasses are just left there on the ground. And there was a incident where someone had seen a cow that tried to attack them, which was very odd, and that is just a report that is noted on there as well. That's kind of what you guys see on the message board today.
Okay. Uthal probably attempts to grab like one of the ones that mentions the cows and sheep, just being completely decimated. But I don't know if he can actually grab it.
I'll grab it for you.
Yeah, you're 2 feet tall. This is probably a little hard for you. Yeah, you're trying to grab at it, but you can't get to it. And Roxy kind of snatches it off the wall, puts the pin back on the cork board, and like kind of hands it to you.
Okay.
Hate to see you struggle.
Yeah, and as you read this a little bit further, basically, it looks like this letter was written by Larry Shoe Polish. This is thank you Laser Ghost for donating for this NPC. Also, all the NPCs are provided by the donators as well as the town and all of the things. So thank you guys to everyone who has helped us raise money for St Jude. Larry Shoe Polish has written this note, and it basically says, their address. It tells you where you can find them, and if you're interested in the job to come meet up with them at their farm.
Okay. This one sounds like a interesting message.
And you can also ask around and to find out more about them if you want to know. But yeah.
He's gonna kind of hand the paper to Roxy. And
Okay.
like, well, if we don't do this one, we might run out of food soon.
I suppose. Cows are kind of important. Odd that one attacked someone. That is strange. She's just gonna hand it to Ardoth.
Stranger than plants disappearing and exploding roofs?
I mean,
Ardoth, you're holding this note and you actually look down at it. And also, as you're looking at the board, you're having a really hard time reading. Like, it's really difficult. I think you have a thing where you can't read during...
I believe he needs to be in sunlight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's sunlight showing through the windows.
Yeah, unable to read unless exposed to sunlight, yeah.
Unless it's what?
Unless exposed to sunlight.
Okay, yeah.
it's the complete polar
So it's like-
opposite.
You actually can read it. I thought it was because you couldn't read... You can't read it in the darkness, right? Yeah, you can kind of read it, but like it takes you... Like you have to like tilt the paper towards like where the sun is coming through the windows to be able to see.
Yeah, okay.
Solar powered literacy.
Yeah, this won't have been the first time that Ardith will have encountered that in a month. But even so, anyone watching will still see that he's tilting the paper and then turning it back and tilting it a different direction, and he's experimenting with it almost.
Yeah.
Are you having trouble there?
Trouble?
You
Where?
seem to not.
Where's
Can-
trouble? I can't see from down here.
You're awfully. You're tilting that paper awfully a lot. Is everything all right?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure.
All right. So do you guys want to move on to go to this to the shoe polish's farm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or did you want to like ask around about anything else in the town on your way out there? It looks like their place is about a 2-mile journey before you get to it, so it's not too far. You can probably get there in a few hours.
Okay. While we're in town then,
Mhm.
has anyone else noticed anything odd about animal behaviors?
Who would you like to talk to? In the inn that you're currently standing in, you look around and you see a few people sitting at the tables. There's new tables now. They look very nice. They actually, some of them they're more matching than they were before, because they had that artificer who had come in and he actually is making custom chairs for them, rather than before where it was like kind of this mishmash of whatever the innkeeper had gotten along the journey of people coming in and selling furniture. Basically looked kind of like, you know, they were just buying whatever furniture that they could get. And of course the innkeeper is behind the bar, along with a bunch of barmaids and servants.
I think Ardoth would go approach the innkeeper.
Okay. Yeah, you walk up to the bar. The innkeeper's actually has his back to you because he's got like a clipboard or something, and he's writing something down with a pen or with a quill, and dipping it in ink and then writing something down. And he's got like this pensive look on his face, like he's very concentrated.
Okay. Ardoth's going to stand there for a little while and watch him. Basically let him finish writing if there's a good point to interrupt him.
Yeah, you see him for a moment as he leaves the quill on its little dock that he's got it sitting at, and he is standing there like kind of rereading over his notes that, or whatever he's writing. You can't really see it from where you are. You're actually really having trouble. Like, normally you could probably see that, but you're just having a struggle with reading lately. And you see him like kind of look up a little bit as if he's like thinking. And that's your moment.
Yeah, okay. Ardoth will cough quietly and say, "Excuse me?"
Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Has no one helped you yet? And he puts down the notebook or the pad that he has, and he kind of flips it over and puts it down and turns over and comes over to you. What can I get you?
Information. I assume you know who I and my companions, and he'll gesture behind him, are.
Oh, yeah, Roxy and Uthal, right? And you're Ardoth. I mean, who doesn't know you in the town? Thank you, by the way, for staying at my inn. Bringing in the customers, that's for sure.
There is another inn in this town?
Well, not really, but people stay. They've been renting out houses lately. All the missing people. Well, not missing, the ones who have left.
Of course.
It's like Airbnb, basically. Air D&D.
Well, he pauses and glances back. My friends and I we're planning on looking into this, and he holds up the paper. As such a upstanding member of the community, has anyone else reported problems of a similar nature?
Air D&D is a thing, by the way. Oh my gosh, Werewolf, you're gonna have to let us know. Standalone's like, would go to Air D&D. Yeah, he takes the paper, he's looking over it, and he's like, oh, I heard a little bit about this, and he kind of slides the paper back over. Mr. Shoe Polish and Mrs. Shoe Polish, they've been having a real hard time lately.
Did Arnoff give it to him facing the right way, or did he give it like the back of the paper?
Yeah, he might have given it to him upside down, and he's like, okay, and he flips it back over. Hands it over to you.
Yeah. And anyone else had problems with animals?
Animals. Yeah, I think something with sheep, right? Trying to remember. I think May made you look. Oh, yeah, that was it. May, she's a little crazy, though, so I think some of us just didn't believe her, but she had a message up there about sheep before. I think she solved it. I haven't seen the message back up. And Major Look is brought to us by Jet Set Ballast.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Do you know where we might find her?
May? Probably at her farm.
Which direction? Sorry.
Here. You have a... just let me get it. He like rips off like a piece of parchment and dips his quill in the ink and writes down in something and hands it to you, slides it over. You look at it, but you can't really read it. There's not like enough light in here that's direct sunlight light. It's like, it's just lights from like lanterns, so it's really hard for you. You're like, you look at it like, sure, it says something on there. You're not sure what it says. And he slides it over. He's like, that's her address. Should be able to find her there.
Okay. At this point, the raven has been hanging out in the rafters for a while, and it will fly down and land on Ardoth's shoulder.
How familiars work is you tell me what you'd like to do, like RP to the creature, and I will act as the creature.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he'll basically telepathically ask it to come to him.
Yeah, and it'll of course fly down to you.
And he's going to focus on his familiar and attempt to see through its eyes.
Ooh, okay. The familiar, yeah, you are now, like, you can see where the familiar is looking at. It's kind of looking up at the light, and it's blinking, and then it looks down at you, and it's blinking. What are you trying to look at exactly?
He will then hold up the piece of paper he's just been handed and ask the familiar to look at it.
Yeah, the familiar looks at the parchment, and ooh, this is interesting. If you are reading it through your familiar, I'm gonna say you can read it because I like that. That's clever. Yeah, you look at the parchment, and your familiar can't read, but you, since you are looking through your familiar's eyes, you can read the parchment, and it does have an address there. It looks like it might be about 3 miles from the other farm that you guys were gonna go to that the shoe polishers lived at.
Okay. Ardoth will turn back to the innkeeper and say, "Thank you for your help."
Yeah, anything else I can do, just let me know. Thank you guys. We really appreciate what you've been doing for the town.
We will do what we can.
And
hopefully,
if you're gonna help the shoe polishes, that's something we could really need help with. Figuring out what's going on with those animals. Even if May's a little crazy, there's maybe some truth to it.
yes. Well, we will see. Thank you. And
No
he'll
problem.
turn and walk off.
Yeah, and he kind of watches you walk a little bit, and then when he recognizes that you're departing, he kind of thinks a little bit and turns around and goes back to looking at that piece of paper that he was looking at, and again that worried look goes back on his eyes, or back on his face, and you are back with your party mates.
Get anything good there?
What'd you
Ardos?
find out?
An address.
That's helpful.
Did you have trouble this time?
No. The
Alright.
innkeeper was most helpful.
Well, I meant with the, and she starts like motioning like what he was doing earlier with the
Yeah, with
paper.
the paper.
Just yeah.
Why would I need to do that again?
Doesn't say anything. She just shakes her head.
Your crow kind of looks over at you and is like, "Caw-caw!"
Telepathically, the crow will get a, "Yes, I know." Thank you.
Anything else you guys want to do, or do you want to move on? Is your plan to go to May's house
Sure.
first, or going over to the other one first?
Hmm.
Well, I'll mention to the others the circumstance with May and that she's got a reputation of being slightly mad, apparently.
What does
Which
she
of
have to
them
be
is
angry
close?
about?
It just hit quiet. Quiet's like, what?
She's lost her sheep. That would make anyone angry.
It would.
Yeah.
But which of the two is actually closer?
The closest one is gonna be the shoe polish's place. Actually, it's about a couple miles, 2 miles out, which will probably take you a couple hours to get there. Her place is roughly like 3 miles from where their place is, on like the opposite side. So you'd probably have to go if you want to go to hers first, it would take you a little bit longer, but then your distance from her to them wouldn't be as bad necessarily. So I would say that you could go to her place and theirs, but you would arrive at the second place probably late in the evening. So you probably get to the first one around like 4 p.m. and then like the other place, depending on how long you stay. If you went to Maze first just for questioning and were quick about it, you could get to the other one roughly about 7 p.m. if you're making haste.
Okay.
Roxy would probably ask to go to Maze first, because maybe we can get some information.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
Sounds like a solid plan.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If she's
so
solved the problem.
is there anything you guys are going to get, or are you going to go straight to Maze?
Uthal doesn't need anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
so as you guys are like, leaving the town, you see all like the vegetation slowly coming back. You go for roughly 3 miles out, and you see the place that you need to be. It looks like it hasn't been well kept. She has this long winding road pathway that goes down to her place. There's lots of trees and bushes, and they don't look like they've been taken care of. So you enter this gate and it's kind of creaky. It's old. It's kind of rusted. It doesn't look like it's been taken care of. And as you get up to the doorstep, it has like these little stone bricks that they're not in the best shape. And then along the sides of the door are 2 pots with some plants in them, and the plants actually look like they have been taken care of. These 2 plants in particular. One of them has little pink buds on it, and the other one has little purple buds on it. And the door is this dark wood door that's like kind of shaped like a half circle. And her house itself it looks like a giant rock that was just sat upon this land. And there's a bunch of trees that are all about it, but the rock itself is not well kept, it looks like. There's cracks in it and little sprouts of like plants coming out of it. It looks kind of like a little hobbit hole, but like a rock.
So Uthal, if no one else tries to take the lead, will quickly like do like a pole vault walk to try to go faster than everyone else to get to the door to knock on it.
Roxy's probably taking her time because if they were walking around, chances are she probably couldn't see, so she was trying to stay near Ardolf.
Yeah, you knock on the door, and at first you don't hear anything, and you knock on it a few more times, and you just hear someone yelling, I'm coming, hold on. And it takes her like a while to get to the door. You'd think that this rock is not that large. How long can it take her? But it does take her quite a bit of time. She finally like opens up the wooden door, and it creaks open, and she's like, what can I do you for? And you see this small halfling lady who's hunched over. She's got like a wooden staff in her hand, and she has like these little pointy ears and white curly hair that is short. She's got like puffy cheeks, and she looks like she's missing a few teeth. Kind of wrinkly, wearing like this really floral pattern dress. Like an old lady would wear that you've seen in like movies and films. And she's just looking up at you. She's about 3.5 feet, so she's a little taller than our Goliath here.
Well, you just knock
Uthal
on old ladies' doors
ask-
and stand there. It's not Hollow. It's not the night of the Hollow's Eve, is it?
Oh, we see you.
No.
You're not
today
like
I'm-
trick-or-treaters or something.
No, ma'am, I am much older. I would like to ask about your sheep.
Oh, peculiar.
Problem?
She looks down at you.
Problem? What problem?
I did almost say hobbit. What'd you say? Sorry.
Were some of them eaten? He says.
You need to eat? What?
No, were some of your sheep eaten? Like,
Oh,
they
my
got
sheep were eaten. Yes, I've had a problem with my sheep. Everyone thinks I'm crazy, but I swear to you, they took everything but the carcass.
Who's they?
I don't know. That's why I tried to find somebody to help me.
Well, any information you can provide us on who may have taken them might help us out a bit.
Well, I couldn't really see. It made a lot of noise, and by the time I could get myself out there, half my sheep were gone, and the other half were, well, you can see for yourself. Come on.
She kind of pushes her way through you guys, closes the door, and starts walking around her rock, and you guys follow. You're following like this really slow lady. You know, like when you're following like a quest giver in like an MMO. If some of you guys might not be MMO people, but if you're following a quest giver and you're like, Jesus Christ, can you fucking walk any faster? It's like that. She walks real slow, and you're like 10 miles ahead of her, or in your mind you are. And you finally get to the backyard where, like this whole rock is like, there's tons of trees everywhere, so it's kind of hard to see. But there is like this little path, and you follow along with it. It's actually really easy for Uthal to follow. The rest of you are kind of having trouble. There's like branches kind of rubbing on your arms and stuff because it's made for a very small person, and only that part is like really trimmed. So in some parts you have to like duck down because like the trees are like overgrowing. And you get to this part where she kind of unlatches a gate. Again, it's rusty. She pushes open the gate, and what you see on the other side of the gate as she walks in and you guys all go into this is just flies kind of all over the place. All you see is bones of sheep, like their rib cages, their legs, their head. It looks like kind of a graveyard for sheep. Now it's been quite a bit of time, for those of you who have maybe seen dead animals before. So it appears that oddly, the bones are like cleaned off. Like it's like something did a very good job with it. So there aren't like a ton of flies everywhere, but there are some on some pieces where, maybe whatever creature ate these didn't fully, consume all of its bits.
If anyone's paying attention to Roxy, she's visibly uncomfortable with this. Like she is staying as far away from them as she can.
Could you see it though?
That's what I was about to ask. Can she see it? She could probably smell it at least.
Ooh. For you, yeah, you can't see, right? You're having trouble seeing.
Yeah.
It's like 3 p.m., so you just can't see during daylight, right?
Yeah, my understanding is, if she is exposed to sunlight, she cannot see.
Yeah. You can't really see what's going on, I guess. You're just kind of like holding on to Ardoth and kind of like feeling around. You felt some branches touch you and something smacked you in the face, and then you like push it away. But yeah, you can't really tell. You can smell. It's like an interesting smell that is not the most pleasant of smells.
Smelly smell.
You could roll me like a perception, I guess, and we could see if you gather any more from that other than like it smells weird.
Okay. Let's see here.
Or in nature, if you want to know, like if you smelled like this type of smell before.
Probably not perception. I'll do a perception. 8.
Yeah, with an 8, it just smells real gross. Like you're not sure what that smell is, but it doesn't smell good.
She'll plug her nose then and just be like, "What is that smell?"
Telepathically to Roxy, dead animals.
Oh, I thought you were gonna be like, it's best you not know. Dead animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, we're going to somebody who had animals that disappeared and got
Yeah.
killed.
No, I was joking.
Yeah, Roxy looks visibly uncomfortable after you say that.
I think seeing all the dead bodies, Uthal would cast mage armor on himself just to be safe.
Okay. Yeah, you
So I'm
cast
gonna
mage
do that.
armor. That's an 8-hour, right?
Yeah.
8 hours, yeah. Yeah, she sees you cast something, and for a moment, or she kind of like looks over, but then she looks back out, and she's like,
Well, do you think you can help me?
We will attempt to.
All right, well, you know where I live. And if you see any of my other sheep, tell them to come home.
Okay. Kind of just laughs to himself, very, very quietly.
Roxy's gonna whisper to Ardoth and just be like, "Can we get out of here now, please?"
And a reply telepathically, not yet.
"Would you like to do, Ardoth?"
Are there any indications as to what actually came and killed these sheep? I know it's been a long time.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to go and like investigate the sheep?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so you kind of like latch Roxy's arm onto Uthal and be like, hold on a moment, I'm going to take a closer look. And you go in and roll me an investigation, and I'll let you know what you find.
At the end of last week, I had one nat 20 left.
Ooh, okay, yeah. Nat 20 it. That is your final nat 20.
Yep.
Cool, yeah, you natural 20, roll your investigation, and for those of you guys who are watching this right now, you can donate to Affect the Game to the right there. You can do all kinds of goodies, and one of those things is giving people some like a nat 20. And you take a look at this. Describe to me what your investigation looks like, and then I'll let you know what you find, because you got a natural 20, but I want to know, like, what does Ardoth do when Ardoth's investigating?
How would he... How spread out are these corpses? Are they all confined to a small area, or are they basically spread out across the field?
There's a couple that are kind of closer to each other, and then there are a few that are spread out. So it's kind of like if you imagine like how sheep are when they're just like chilling. That's what it kind of looks like. There's a group of them that look like they were herded into an area, and so you can kind of see that is like there's some over there, and they're all mostly around the edges of the fencing, so it looks like, you know, they were trying to run away from whatever was coming at them with that investigation. You know that.
Right, okay. So Ardoth is going to start by... he's basically going to look closely at all the sheep corpses. So he's going to start with the nearest ones, and he's going to pick up all the stragglers before moving on to the group. So he's going to be looking at the corpses, seeing if he sees any signs of what might have caused the injuries that killed them, anything like that. He's also going to be examining the ground around the corpses, see if there's any signs of tracks or anything like that.
Yeah.
And if he spots anything unusual, what he's also going to try and compare different corpses to see if it's just something random, or okay, this is consistent with that several of them got hit by the same sort of attack, kind of thing, and try and build a picture of what happened.
Yeah. Like I said before, you are, as you're imagining this and you're putting like the yarn ball like to each of the little bits and pieces of investigation, you figure out that clearly they were all running away. They went to the edges of the fencing, but whatever attacked them still was able to get to them. You can see on some of the bones there are like these sharp teeth marks. So it looks like something with kind of sharp teeth was biting at these bones and like really ripped them raw. There's not really much meat on these things left because this has been quite a few months, so it's hard to like really investigate that bit.
Yeah.
Footprints, though, you do see some footprints. Obviously, more of like it looks like halfling and human footprints, which you're assuming are people who were coming to maybe look at this, or maybe they were May's footprints. The smaller ones are. And as you're kind of pushing down and like looking in the grass along these footprints, you do see what looks like maybe another type of animal other than the sheep, because you do see tons of sheep footprints that were probably imprinted there, and it might look like a wolf potentially is what you're thinking. And then there's some larger footprints that look kind of like wolf footprints but larger. So you're kind of seeing, that's what you're thinking, is it could be a wolf attack that had attacked these creatures.
Okay.
Or these sheep, not these. You know what the creatures of the sheep are.
Yeah. So Arloth will walk slowly back towards the others.
As he sees Ardoth approaching, Uthal will probably grab Roxy's hand. This is probably the first skin contact that Roxy has had with Uthal. And when he grabs your hand, it feels ice cold. And he moves it to Ardoth.
Okay. Yeah, probably have like that moment where hand touch and you touch something really cold, like kind of shiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Cool. Anything else you guys want to do here?
I'll basically outline what I found, but otherwise...
You'll what?
I'll just describe what conclusions I reached to. Animal attack, likely wolf or something like that. Possibly something a bit bigger, but still likely similar shapes. So
Yeah, so he shares that information with all of you.
Roxy's gonna petition that they leave the area as soon as possible still.
We might be able to get more information from the shoemakers?
Shoe polish. The shoe
Shoe
Mrs. and
polish.
Mr. Shoe Polish.
Shoe polishers.
more recent dead things, yes.
Perhaps we'll be able to get fresher tracks to follow, too.
Maybe.
Yeah, and so, made you look, kind of like lets you guys through as you walk out and closes the gate and latches it. Even though there's no sheep there, she doesn't really need to do that. She still does it out of habit and follows you until you part your way and you head on to Mr. and Mrs. Shoe Polish's farm. It takes you guys like a couple hours to get there, so it's roughly 6-7 p.m. And as you guys get there, it is a beautiful farm. It looks like it's very well kept. There are a bunch of fields. It looks like 2 to 3 fields. There are actually cows in one of the fields. It looks like it's the closest one to the house. Potentially they're trying to keep an eye on their cows. There's a barn that has access to each of the areas of that, or the little pods of farmland, and a pretty large house and a large pathway that looks like a driveway that you guys could go through and go up to the house.
Mm. Okay. Is the sun down enough for Roxy to see? Or is
Yeah,
still
it's
up
6-7 p.m. You can see now.
Okay.
Completely, yeah.
Okay. So probably she's not going to be leaning on Ardoth, really. She'll be close to him still, but she's not like physically touching him.
Yeah, okay.
Cool.
Would you like to knock there, Uthal?
Sure, Uthal will reach up with his stick and knock on the door, or his quarterstaff. Kind of just
Yeah.
bang on the door.
You knock on the door, and a woman comes to the door. She's wearing an apron. She looks to be human, and she opens the door and is like, "Oh, hi. What can I do you gentlemen for?"
We are looking into some animal deaths recently. I've heard you had some cows die on you. Pretty peculiarly.
Oh, hold on a second. And as she kind of like leaves the door open, you smell this lovely smell of cinnamon, and it sounds like pumpkin and cinnamon together. It smells delicious. And you kind of hear her say something, and you hear like a gentleman's voice say something, and then a gentleman comes over to the door, and he's also human, and it looks like maybe it's Mr. Shoemaker. He has like red hair and lots of freckles and very pale skin, and he's wearing like overalls and like a white shirt and some like work boots, and he comes over to the door and he's like, "Howdy, y'all here to help us out with our cows?"
Yes.
Yes, sir.
That is our main goal, at least.
"Well, let me show you what we got going on." And he closes the door and he kind of walks you over to the farthest area, closest to the ridge of the forest, and he's like, "Looks like something's been attacking them. We've moved all the cows to the front so we can keep an eye on them, and hired a hand. He's a young fella. He can stay up during the night, so he's been keeping an eye on them during the night."
Interesting.
Has he said anything to you about what may have been attacking them?
"Well, he hasn't seen anything yet. Been a couple weeks, but my guess is keeping them away from the forest was probably the best decision. But I need to be able to use my farmland here, and I definitely need more sheep. Them shoes just don't make themselves." Or sheep, cows, sorry.
You're good. Understandable. Where is the farmhand right now?
"Well, he's watching my cows."
Oh,
Do we spot him from where we are right now, or?
He's taken you to the backfield to show you there's a bunch of dead cows.
Yeah.
So you can see the carcasses of the cows. These ones, some of them have flies on them, and they do smell pretty bad. But you guys passed the front one. You didn't do like an active perception check. Your passive perception checks were not high enough to see the guy. But he is watching like the front field that you guys had passed early on. But you guys are like behind the house and behind the barn right now.
If anyone's paying attention to her, Roxy's like slowly backing up, trying to get away from this situation since there's dead things. She's just getting away from
there are a lot of dead things. There's probably like 10 dead cows that have part of their bits still on them, and probably 5 that are just bones.
Yeah, she's going to make her way towards like the front field where supposedly
he might think you're really suspicious if you start walking that far. I mean, you'd be walking very far away from them.
Uthal will probably mention that Majoluk's sheep also were killed in such a manner.
"Oh, that crazy kook? We all thought she was crazy." "Well, makes a lot of sense. Maybe they're trying to get all of our creatures? I don't know. Something's hungry. And I just wanted to leave my cows alone. Look, I'll pay you pretty. Whatever you need. As long as you fix this situation, get rid of that creature." "Well, creatures? I don't know what's causing this."
Have any cows died since you moved them to the other field?
"Not yet. Henry's been watching them cows, and like I said, he hasn't seen anything, and the cows have been well kept. Either they're in the barn or they're being watched." Thank you for the host, Six Machine. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Roxy's still gonna slip away. I don't think she cares if it looks suspicious or not. She's gonna.
Are you trying to sneak away, or are you just backing up away from them, like weirdly?
Just kind of weirdly. Like she looks physically uncomfortable, but she's still just kind of like backing up.
Oh, sorry. I guess I should have introduced myself. I'm Mr. Shoe Polish. They call me Larry. Thank you, Laser Ghost, for Larry. Larry and Mary.
Uthawald will attempt to shake his hand.
Okay.
He might be too short, so Mr. Shoe
No, he
Polish
shakes
might
your
come
hand.
down.
He'll reach down for him.
Okay. I am Uthal. I used to be taller. That's how he
All
that's
right.
how he greets everyone.
He doesn't really question it. He just looks at you a little bit weird when you say that.
Yeah, Roxy's just gonna say from where she's at is just I'm Roxy.
You afraid of the cows? It ain't like they're gonna jump up and bite you. They're already dead.
It's fine. I can see everything from here. She just starts stammering.
We can go chat over there if you want. I understand this isn't the most appealing location. He starts walking, and he kind of looks over at you, Ardoth, and he's like, and what's your name?
Ardoth.
Nice to meet you, Ardoth. Well, gentlemen, lady, if there's anything you can do, name your price, and I'll definitely do what we can. I mean, Mary and I, we don't make a lot of money. We used to. Our shoe store used to be one of the best in the county, but, you know, with recent endeavors, I'm sure you gentlemen and lady know what's been going on. Town hasn't been in its best position, but I've actually heard about y'all. Heard what you did in town. Thank you.
Yes. That was a very... Okay. Didn't know if I was muted. That was a very interesting day, and it's been a interesting weeks attempting to repair all the damage.
Indeed.
Well, like I said, if there's anything else I can do, let me know. But yeah, if you can find any information on what's been taking my cows, I would appreciate it. Or if you can find my other cows, there's about 20, 30, 32 of them. Yeah, 32. Sorry. It's been a crazy few weeks for us. Guess this might help as well. They went missing about 4 weeks ago.
Just completely missing? No carcasses, then?
Well, you saw some of the carcasses. The other
Right.
32 were missing. I don't know where they went.
Herd of cows that size would not be easy to sneak through a forest.